Hello YouTube. We just did a precision build in the last video. This video is going to be about might build. This one is what I mean is a might build for speed damage. There's also two powers you can change out to make it more of a range DPS versus, you know, mid-range. So you can go from range to mid-range with it. This one's more of the mid-range build. So you want to be a little bit closer than the other build. My gear is the same as the precision based. For mods wise, weapon, blast adapter, even though you're never going to use your weapon unless you really want to. Pheromone bloom, of course, just like the other builds. I use it in pretty much every build. You can also use volcanic calamity in there if you really wanted to. Wise, because I have pheromone balloon in there because of the fact that I'm the one that usually gets targeted right out of the gate or right after the tank dies. So I had that there just in case. Your neck will be a might, escalating might, which increases your might by 2% for 8 seconds when you hit an enemy while with a harmful superpower. Does not work using supercharged powers or like volcanic calamity or, you know, pheromone bloom or any of those. Well, it does say, yeah, does not work with supercharged powers at all. Berserker, even though my health, like I said, my health will go down when the tank goes down on the next one targeted. Again, supercharged build. This is how I double up on my supercharge to constantly be able to pop it. I can pop my main super, which is a 10k, with this build at least 12 times, or not 12 times, 10 times in one raid, depending on how long we're in there. Depending on the group as well. Because I pug, I don't run with the leagues. So when it comes down to it, I'm pugging. The longer we're in there, the more I can pop my super. It definitely gives you a 5% plus the additional, you know, 2.5, so you're at 7.5% of your supercharge rebuild. Again, fireball in the legs, of course, like always. I have deadly block in the feet. And maximum damage, which increases my damage by 2%. And then I, of course, carry the soda, which, again, gives me increased might or precision, depending on which one I'm at. And then here comes the bread and butter for additional percentages for the supercharge. So right now we're already stacked twice. This is the third stack on your supercharge. Gives you 20%. Well, 24%. So you're already at 6%, 7%, 7.5%. Okay. And then you have this, which will be, it'd be 31%. 31.5 actually. Percentage of how much power you're getting back on your supercharge every time you use it. Again, with the Eye of Gemini, which is the one I use, also for some reason really brings back my super pretty fast. Also explodes on enemies if you have it set to the right level. So it'll hit multiple enemies while you're just beaming one. And here we got, again, we were already at 31.5. Again, additional percentage of it goes back to you again with the cooldown at 4%. So we're at 35% of your, well, 33% of your supercharge. It has been regen to you. That's how you can get it back so quickly and massively regen your super back. Stats wise, 57 with a 57 power. So health 57, power 57, 22 defense, might at 33,879, which if you're in a league that has the bonuses, that'll go up to 34,000. So I only dropped 1,000 by not being in a league. Restoration doesn't really matter because I don't use any heals, so I'm not really worried about that. Precision doesn't matter because you're not using your weapon. Dominance doesn't matter because you're not a tank. And you're not using shields, so it doesn't really matter. Your weaponization doesn't matter. What does matter is your damage output, so your crit damage and your crit chance. Getting those to where you can use those. Because you're not using weapon damage and you're not using any healing or power healing, so those don't matter. It's the actual ability damage here and here. Artifacts though, or augments, I mean. Depending on which one you go into, you can run your cybernetics when you're in the Teen Titans, or you can run these and pretty much anything, including Atlantis, other than Teen Titans, you can run these. My advice is definitely get them up to the 15 mark at minimum. Like I'm still working with this one, trying to get it to 15. I got it at 7. Because it gives you an additional 3% might added to it. And then you would have your might augments up there. As you can see, mine are pretty close in evenness. Like I have 2 that are close to the same rank, and I have the other 2 close to the same rank. So you want to do those. And matching, and most people I've noticed put different color ones. Biggest thing to know about augments, match them, because you gain an additional 50% bonus from colored matched exobytes. So colored matched to whatever augments you're running. So make sure when you're looking at things to put into your augments, make sure they're either might, restoration, dominance, vitalization, or precision. Make sure that you're putting those in there, because you get an additional 50% bonus for having the right ones in there. And also matching up your augments gives you a bonus. So always make sure you match up your augments to gain your bonus. Now with the loadout, like I said, there's multiple ways to run it, but we're going to do the skill points first, and then we'll talk about the loadout. 1 into your weapon. So my advice is just get a weapon that you started with, or the weapon that you're using, put 1 into it. I don't know why it keeps doing that. It shouldn't back you all the way out. Flight, you put 1 in. Iconics, I use heat vision. Then your build is going to go super powered, 20, 40 into your crit chance, 20 into your crit chance, 20 in your crit dam. And then you're going to go down here and you're going to put everything you got into might power. I'm 1 skill point off of maxing that out. As you see, I'm 288, so I need 289, and then I can max that out. So at 289, you would be able to max out, your crits and your 1 tree at 288. So you could do that. See, if I literally didn't have heat vision, I'd be able to actually max out my full might. But heat vision is part of the loadout, as you tell by that 1 artifact that was in the inventory here. This one right here. Increase, it gives you additional damage using the heat vision. That definitely plays a part in your loadout. Let's go back over here. I'm trying to fight with menus. Loadout, Inferno, which gives you dot damage, and since the enemy's on fire, which queues you up for using any of your abilities to say burning enemies. Burning enemies take additional damage. Like this one here takes additional damage. This one here takes additional damage. This one here take additional damage. So this is important to have. What's actually great about this loadout is while this one is going and it cools off, like it's on cooldown, you can literally go to heat vision to make them vulnerable to burning damage again. And with that artifact, it just not only gets the 1 target you're focused on, but at anybody in the area that's around that target will also be burning. So these 3 again are then active with the power interaction. You would have detonate, which is a single hit but does give a bit of damage. Another dot damage, which is your flame cascade. This is good. It's a good spam. You can spam it. Wildfire's another big hit, but it also dots 3 times. So it's a good one to have. This one, like I said, activates the power interaction of those. Also does dot damage to the 1 target you're hitting, and explodes hits the other target, so it's an exploder hitter. like a splash damage, and it has a single hit, which is a dot. Then you would have your supercharged Volcanic Calamity, or you can use Pheromone Bloom, which I don't have, but you can actually have Pheromone Bloom thrown in there. But that's just up to you. But the other way you can run this is you dock these two out, and you can run, oh, wrong button. You would run it like this, where you would use Inferno to activate Fire Burst, which is a long animation, 4-second cooldown, but a long animation. But that's a good bit of damage. It's a dot damage. You get your burst damage, which is mass det, and then a secondary burst damage that does 3 ticks, but it's still burst damage, is your wildfire. And then you got your dots at the end of heat vision. So that's another way you can run it. Whoops. Switch back to it. Another thing you can do, if you really wanted to save that point on that, is you could actually put in, where is it? You could put in Absorb Heat. It takes a little bit more power, but you can save that 1 point off of your Iconics and use it in here to get your might. You lose a little bit of damage, but you still have the ability to use it. And at that point in time, what you would do is you would still keep this, because of the fact of the might increase by 4%, and the power increase by 2%. The health doesn't really matter, but the power and the might is what you're focused on. So you would still keep that artifact in there, even though it's not used at the moment. Now, stat-wise, we went over where I was in these for might. But loadout-wise, we went over that. Now let's go show you what it does with the 2 different builds on a test dummy, since I don't feel like queuing up for anything right this moment. Plus it takes too long to queue up. Let's pull over the damage board here. That was from my precision build earlier. Didn't think it would be still there. But alright. Well, you can go check that video that was posted up before this one. Alright, and then you would just go a left or right build with this one. And this is without heat vision, so it still does good damage. And as you see, it's constant dots. Dots, dots, dots. You hit Inferno. And as you can see, my power bar is not moving below half. It's staying right above half. And that's pretty much that build. Let's see what it does. And it's a lot of dots, so it's going to be a lot bigger number than you would think. 260,000 for 61 hits. Not bad for a total of 25.5 seconds. Let's go over here. That's with Absorb Heat in the place of Heat Vision. So again, yeah, you're just changing dot out for dot out, you know. And then we'll do it with this build. And as you see, I was hitting for 19 there, 9 there. You know, you can hit some big numbers. Another 19, almost 20,000. Bunch of 9s there. Let's see what damage that did. As you can see, he's still getting dotted. Alright, let's see what damage that did. See, the last one was 61. Less hits and did less damage, but barely less damage. At 54 hits. So it does a little bit less damage, but it took less hits to do this good bit of damage. And it actually took 24 seconds to blow off 159 versus the other one that took 25 seconds. Now, the other build I was talking about runs the same as this one. I did it again, didn't I? Is doing this. You can have it in any order you want, whatever feels comfortable for you. I tend to go across the board. This one's the other build I was talking about. You can literally run it with this, which as you see, takes longer, but you got a lot of hits. Again, a high number hit right there. You know, a 10,000, 9,000, yeah. We'll do one more rotation here. But as you see, my power bar really drains from this one. Oh, there's a 30-something thousand. You know, and we'll see how much damage that did once these ticks come off of the test dummy eventually. Alright, let's see what it pops up. 91 hits for over 300,000. So a lot more hits. And then about 10 seconds more, 11 seconds more to do that because of the time frame it takes for your interactions. So you have multiple different ways you can run it. You can even, oops, didn't mean to get rid of that one actually. Crap, where's wildfire? You can do it the way I showed you earlier too. You can actually throw in absorb heat and run it this way, where it's pretty much like the other build, but you're running with the long animated ones. But it gives you another dot. Still uses a lot of power. Of course it will, but still does a lot of damage. 35, 12, 11, 12. He's still burning, so we'll still get damage off him. And we'll stop right there. So 52 hits for over 300k on that one. So less hits than the last one, but a little bit less damage too. So there's multiple ways that you can change up this build to make it damage. Now, again, in a duo, the best thing to do in a duo, because you're going to be going up against ads, so using heat vision is not the brightest thing. You would want to probably rather use, well, you can use heat vision for the explode damage, but when you're in a duo, you need fast hitting, so you absorb heat, even though it is interruptible, but so is heat vision. And that way you can run detonate, which is not interruptible, and you can run cascade, even though it is interruptible. But it'll give a lot of quick damage, a lot of dot damage, meaning that duo, because if you go up against certain powers, they hit so much, so quickly, like gadgets or hard light, they can hit so quickly, you want to be able to keep up. Even though the numbers are smaller, you're getting a lot more. So a lot more numbers equals a lot more damage than the other person. Let's see how much that did. Last one was a 52 with a 316. This one was a 49 with a 235. But my advice is the best build for raids is definitely like high tier raids, high tier alerts. Is this one? It gives you a heck of a lot of quick damage, quick burn. Because of how long it takes to do mass stat and how long it takes to do fire bursts, you can get double the damage out of using these. So, the only long-lasting one that you have is heat vision and wildfire, which takes a little bit to cast both of these. But these you can cast pretty much back to back. But there's your loadout. There's your skill point placement. Your little show over here. Let me make it bigger for you if I can figure out how. Alright. There's your stats. So let's say 61 for 260. You got 159 for 54. You got 91 for, or you got 341 for 91. You got 316 for 52, and a 235 for 49 hits. At 21 seconds, 25 seconds, 36 seconds, 24 seconds, 25 seconds. So, and overall, even though you did 341, it took 94 hits, and at 36 seconds, which is the most hits we've gotten for the most damage we've gotten. So more hits equals more damage, like I said before. But yep. Put that back where it belongs. But catch you guys in the next one. Like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll catch you later.
I'm about to call me an Uber.
You can't call an Uber. They banned the Uber.
I don't know if they running or not.
No, you can't. You can't call the Uber.
They might still be banned.